All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Let's Go. Yeah,
right.
It's always exciting.
Alivia Roberts, Harrison, Lilly, coming to you guys today. Today is May.
The 4th.
Is it May the 4th?
Yeah, because tomorrow's Cinco de Mayo.
Okay. So tomorrow's Cinco de Mayo. So may the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you. It's also the month where Justin Timberlake gets to go, it's gonna be May.
I can tell you practiced that a few times.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So last week you came back this week from a seminar. I'd love to. We always talk about coaching and improving yourself. We'd love to hear takeaways. What'd you learn? What do you want to share?
Yeah. So the roofing company. So it was me, Daniel, and one of our sales reps. Daniel is our operations partner on the roofing company. And
Lilly Roofing.
Lilly
if
Roofing.
You need any roofing needs in North Louisiana.
I mean, we'll go even Northwest Louisiana.
And Northwest Louisiana.
Yeah, we're going there soon. Daniel, he is into a whole different coaching sect than I am. Like the people that I follow and listen, like me and you, a lot of stuff, because it's all real estate related, right? Daniel he follows a totally different path of people, which is actually cool.
I'll have to ask him about that.
Next year, it'll be this year late. I went to my first conference with Daniel, and not my first conference, but my first with Daniel, and it was an all-in conference. Which, if you know me, then you know that fits. Now this was a manly men conference. Like
I remember you sharing that.
It was
rough. We talked about that on one of the
Yeah. I don't. If you are afraid of cursing, if you are afraid of radicalism, I do not recommend it. However, I will tell you that if you're in sales and like you're looking for energy, accountability, someone look, not everybody gets off on this, but like if you yell at me and be like, "Did you go all in today?" I'm like, probably not. I could have done better, right? Even if you had a great day, like
right.
That thing that you did with me one day, where somebody brought you a piece of paper, and actually it's a story about somebody else, but they brought him a piece. They asked him to do something, and they brought it to him, and they go, "Is this the best that you could do?"
Yeah.
Right, and then they go, "No." They pull it off. They bring it back. Was this your best work? Didn't even look at it, and they bring it back, and then they brought it back the third time, and like, okay, now we have the best work. Yeah. And I think that even when a lot of us have good days, that's a real thing. Yeah. Like our day could have been great, going from good to great. Great book. All right, and so went to that conference. It was really good. I was very inspired leaving the conference, but this one was. I'm going to say it, and I really hope that no one from their organization watches this.
Well, and I think it's fine because what you had shared with me, you said there were some great things. I think maybe just through other conferences, you've already gotten some of the things that they were sharing, and you're not looking to partner with somebody. So that just wasn't a fit, maybe.
Yes. We went to Grant Cardone 10X Summit. It was 4 days, actually 5 if you include the class we didn't mean to go to. We showed up off a plane. I was not sober. And they're like, "Oh, are you guys going to our 3-hour class today?" And Daniel looked at me. He's like, "Well, we did come here to learn." I'm like, "Bro, I just got off a flight. I am drunk." So I suffered through 3 hours of that class.
So we're going to withhold any kind of judgment from that class.
Yeah.
That may have been a you.
Yeah, that class I didn't enjoy at all. That was a me problem, not a them problem. Yeah. If I would have known that I was going to be in class that day, I would have been sober.
Yeah.
So Grant Cardone 10X Summit. First, I want to say that I love his sales culture. Like, holy cow, it's cool. Those guys are amped. They are trying. They are intending. They are following up. They're aggressive, and like it wasn't a turn-off level of aggressive. But as someone who trains and hires salespeople, I was like, man, give me 3 of those guys, and I'll go change a city. And that's what he's done inside his culture. He's got 20-year-olds. Somewhere in their 20s, these guys are making multiple 6 figures with nothing but sales skills. No college degree, no pedigree, no trust fund. They're out there. They're on the sales grind, and they're crushing. The conference overall, if I was a less than 2-year rep that did not have a lot of coaching, I think I would have found it more valuable. In fact, the sales rep we brought from Lilly Roofing, his name's Kyle Bell. He's one of our, he's new, but he's one of our top salespeople. He's just raw talent. And Kyle was like, oh, I really enjoyed that. And I was like, okay. And that's just probably a difference of where we're at in our careers.
100%.
But because the information was extremely basic.
Well, basic if you've been in sales and not just in sales, because I've seen people that have been in sales for, and I wasn't there, so correct this, but I've seen people that have been in sales for 5-10 years, and really what they've been in is, and this is a good thing, it's just not everything they're great at customer service. Mm-hmm. And yet they can't find the leads because they've never learned sales. They've never, and there is a difference. You great customer service, but you got, sales is like those run neck now. So you've been in this work for
8 years.
Yeah. So that's the difference. And you've been in cultures first with, when you were with Keller Williams, and then the culture you've created where you've had coaches, you go to conferences all the time. Yeah. So it makes sense that you guys would be in different places if he's just started his journey. Yeah.
It's funny that you said something, and it's kind of a principle I stand on. You just said it, and yet I can't come up with all the words, but a lot of salespeople are good at customer service, but they don't know how to get the leads. And that just reminds me, like all the time, that the number one realtor in your area is not the best realtor. The number one roofing company in your area is not the best roofer, because it's typically just that they took some good customer service skills, but they learned how to sell, and they learned how to go get the leads, and they're bold, and they're not afraid to do that extra step. And that's why they're controlling the market, is because of nothing other than extra effort and extra skills that they learned that you didn't.
Yep. Well, and interesting enough, they could be the best because of time on task, right? It's that old parable, and I'm sure I'm going to screw this up, but it's like they divided a pottery class into two.
Yep.
And they had this person, this side, we want you to make the best, pot, whatever, ever, and so they all spent their time working on this one pot, making it perfect. And this other, they said, we want you to make, as you're going to be judged on how many you can make. Mm-hmm. Well, the one that was judged on how many they could make, they actually had the prettiest pot at the end because they figured all the intricacies and the ins and outs.
Right.
So so I agree with you, and I think they could be.
Yeah.
And I know some agents that, not only agents, salespeople, businesses, that they are great at what they do. The challenge is nobody knows about it.
Yeah.
So they're that secret business, that secret agent, and you sell. And it doesn't matter. What was a long time ago? Whether because some people be like, "Well, I'm not a salesperson." I'm like, wait a minute. If you have kids, guess what? You're selling them on ideas. Do you own a business? You've got to get customers in there. If you wrote a book, you're going to go on a book tour. All of that, because to me, sales skills is nothing more than communicating at a high level and helping people make decisions.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We help you make a choice.
Yep. Hey, what do you want? You want X? Cool. If I helped you get X, would you let me be a part of that journey with you?
That's right.
Oh, perfect. I got what you wanted, so now I get what I want.
Yep.
That's sales that's my 3-second version of what sales really is.
You help enough people get what they want, you get what you want.
Thank you, Zig Ziglar.
Yes. Big fan.
Yeah. When we talk in the real estate team all the time, they may have a question or something that I actually don't know the answer to. It's a technical question, right? And I was like, guys, don't be mistaken. I don't know everything. Like there are... I think of a few realtors just on our board, and I'm like, they are like not in like systems or marketing or some of that stuff. But like when I think of like they understand the contracts at a high level, they give great customer service. They're a good realtor. There's realtors out there who I believe are better than me. So why am I beating them? Mm-hmm. Sales skills, coaching, accountability.
Well, people know who you are. You come from a place of doing the right thing. I think those are all huge pieces. You bring value, and like you said, and the other thing is sometimes, and we all know that person, and so this is to say, like, if you feel like you're that person, if you feel like you've been doing you're not breaking through to the next ceiling, you're probably missing a skill or a habit, and it could be mindset
or a who.
Well, that was what I was going to say. When you're missing a skill, a habit, or a mindset, you're probably missing a who. Mm-hmm. And that who is probably going to be a coach, a mentor, all of the above. You can have mentors and coaches. You almost should.
Or maybe a great support system and team that starts with THLT.
That's right. If you're looking, but really, it matters because a lot of times, right, we don't know what we don't know. Mm-hmm. And the who you're missing is that person that can walk alongside of you and go, those pieces are great, but what about this? Or we've all worked with that, again, whether it's an agent or another salesperson or another business, that you're like, okay, the service was good. Like, I got what I wanted. Mm-hmm. And yet the way that person talked to me or the way they communicated with me gave me the ick, and I'm not going to go back and use them.
But that goes back to
that person doesn't realize, like, what they in their communication, how that messed them up.
Communication is probably strong, effective communication is probably the number one skill that causes salespeople to pass or fail. It goes back to that age-old saying: people do not remember what you did for them; they remember how you made them feel.
That's right.
I got a phone call the other day from a past client, and they're buying their daughter's renting a house. They're trying to buy it. And they're like, "Hey, Harrison, like, we will pay you if you want us to." They've sold 3 or 4 houses with us. And they're like, and she was getting divorced. That's why she sold her last house. New husband. Husband never met me. He had just been on a 3-way call with me. They had a bad experience with their previous realtor, fired them, hired us because they were trying to go with the cheaper option. And the husband said, "Hey, I don't remember his name. I just know he sold a house for us, and he just made me feel really good about the transaction. Like, I felt like he was really nice and sincere to us. Can we call him and just get his opinion? Like, how much would he charge?" And they gave me 5 minutes worth of information. I gave them a within $20,000 price. And they're like, "That's exactly what we needed. Thanks." But it made me, like, when I got off that phone, I said, they don't remember that their house needed a little bit of work. And that I invested like $1,500 in having a few rooms painted and some electrical redone for them. They don't remember that money was tight. There was no equity in the transaction. They don't remember that I donated a staging package to them. Mm-hmm. Like, I paid out of my commissions for their staging package. They don't remember any of that. Yeah. But you know what they remember? He was really nice to us on the phone.
Yeah. Well, when an actual...
I gave away $2,500 and they remember that I was nice.
Well, so this is the interesting thing. I'm actually going to challenge that. I think they remember the experience. Now, and all of that plays into it. Yeah. Right? Because you took care of things, and because, again, like, there's somebody in mind. I won't call them. This is a family member. This isn't like, not as much now, but when we were younger, he had your back.
Yeah.
And yet the words that he used when he had your back didn't make you feel good.
Yeah.
And so there wasn't ever a warm fuzzy feeling mm-hmm. in that. And I think that puts a lot of space between people. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't just because we've talked before. I'm not a big fan of somebody that says, "Oh, she's nice." Now, we talked about in a coaching concept.
Yeah.
I want people to say she's kind. I want people to say, I'd like people to think that I'm kind.
Maybe.
Empathetic.
Yeah. Say that again.
Yeah, no. I would, but the nice is kind of bland to me. And yet they did not consider you bland, or they would not have called you, right? Like, yeah. But it was the whole experience, how you talk to them. So whether or not that money would have come out of pocket or not, it was the experience you provided.
Yeah. I never want anybody to say that I'm nice. That is that is the worst compliment ever. He's nice. What? That's like the Southern version of "bless your heart."
Yeah.
You're an idiot.
Yeah. It's like, I don't have anything else to say, so I'll just say, they're nice.
Yeah, they're nice. Yeah, that's like a half-ass compliment that basically means you didn't really care for the experience.
Or I don't really know the person, Mm-hmm. That's again, like, you think about if I were like, "Hey, you should really go to this restaurant. It's nice." Now, there's a difference if I were like, "Hey, you really ought to go to this," like, it's nice. Like, they've got, right, now, that's hold up. Difference.
Yeah, if you're like, "You need to listen with the THLT. It's like, nice." Like, it's the NOICE. That's what I want.
That's right.
Yeah.
But it really, because you are looking at creating an experience, and I think that's what people realize. And yet, so again, like let's say that you'd have done all of that, and yet when when they talked, you didn't listen. Because again, like, and it's funny, like most business entrepreneurs, I think it's something like 30% of business entrepreneurs are ADHD. What is it that ADHD people tend to do?
I would say that they're not actively engaged in any one thing at any given time. Like right now, I am 50% with you and 50% petting Bruno, and I can smell him, and I'm thinking about that grooming appointment that he has Monday at 8:30 and how bad he needs to be there right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and we tend to talk. We get excited about stuff, so we blurt it out. You share a story. I tend to want to empathize with you, or relate to you, so I share another story. And a lot of times, if we're not really careful, that can just feel like one-upmanship. Mm-hmm. So the other person's like, well, why are you even here? All you're doing is talking about me. I'm talking about you. The other thing is, a lot of times salespeople, they think that's the sales pitch, is coming in and like, this is what we're going to do, and me. No. Now, do they want to know those things? Sure. The thing, though, it must start with, tell me about you, Harrison. What do you want? Why is that important to you? What will that do for you? What are you looking for? Okay, now let's see if we're a fit, and I can help you get there. Then, hey, let's do business. There's no, but knowing about me, until I know that, you don't care about what I'm going to offer. And so I think that's are you creating an experience? So, so you went to the conference.
Yep.
It's good for certain people.
Mm-hmm.
You recognize some of the, some skills that they've taught their salespeople to not give up and things to that effect.
Yeah.
What, and I know that you had even sent us a couple of texts around email. So there was a few things.
Yeah, no, there were some things that I thought were appropriate for our sales team, So it wasn't all bad. I would say that I attended 5 days of teaching, and I probably got about 4 hours. Me personally, things that spoke to me, I probably got about 4 hours out of it. And none of it was life changing, so I'm gonna say that it's a no for me on the next one. I'm not going back.
And yet, depending on what Kyle does, it might be when people do a certain amount of business in your company, that might be a good place for them for next steps. Maybe
there's
not.
Better sales conferences.
Okay.
Yeah. No. There's. I would actually rather send our roofing sales reps to a Tom Ferry conference.
Yeah.
Because it's all about sales. And look, I don't care what you sell.
Yes.
The sales principles are all the same. If you're a sales expert, all you need to do is go learn a few intricacies in the next business and boom, win. I know more than the average person about construction. And yes, I do own a roofing company, but I am not a roofer. Don't get it twisted.
Well, no, you went and found your who.
That's
so
right.
You have people that are.
I call it my who stack.
Yeah.
I want to do this. Who's the who that's going to make all that happen for me? Where we can be a great partnership. I'm gonna help out with leads and seed money and culture and teach
Sales
people how to run businesses
and
bring in great consultants and coaches to help with the companies. Olivia's plug.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do all that, but they've got to know the business.
That's right.
And
that's the cool thing is everybody has a seat on there's a seat on the bus for everybody.
Yeah.
And so, and knowing that, so let's say that you're somebody that, you've reached a certain ceiling because sales or lead generation is a challenge for you and you're not ready to embrace it. Well, guess what? Odds are you have a huge opportunity to go, whether it's a partnership, joining a team, you might have an ability to make a lot more money where somebody else handles that piece.
Yeah.
Just like what you talked about with the roofing. You were like, okay, we're going to do this. This person's in charge of it. So that partnership ends up helping you guys make more money
and faster
and give better customer service. So that's the other piece, is, partnerships can be really cool. Make sure it's the right partner, the right team, the right business. Do your due diligence. There is a a way to do all of this. Don't just jump in and yet 100%. Like,
No.
there are times like Gary Keller, like he's a billionaire, and
Billion with a B.
with a B. And one of the things that he shared, he said, I think he said that he does not have a business without a partner. If he does, he maybe has one. But
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he does not. Yeah. Well,
I would say everything else he has a partner.
yeah,
in.
now they have a board of directors and stuff to that effect. But yeah, and then he bought Joe Williams out.
Yeah,
So
but he has a board of directors, but he's not public, so he has all the say.
oh
at the end of the day.
yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's that won't go into the
Yeah.
that's the thing. So if I'm like, okay, so if a billionaire says partnerships are good. Now again, it's just like with everything else, because sometimes people will have a partnership and they're like, oh, I hate partnerships because it wasn't the right partnership.
You partnered with the wrong person.
Right.
I have partnered. I just took a 6-figure beating this last week. I signed off. I sold an investment portfolio out because I was partnered with the wrong person. I took a 6-figure loss, and I was all right. So like my ego, that sucks, right? My peace, my sleep, knowing that I am partnered with the right people, that is more important to me than any 6-figure check. And I know some people may not agree with that, but like I didn't go to college, so I got to learn some college lessons and pay some tuitions every now and then. Mm-hmm. And so that's one of them, is that I partnered with. I knew this person's character and I knew their behaviors before we ever got. And I was like, they wouldn't do it to me.
Oh yeah,
they would never do it to me.
Remember, people have patterns.
Yeah.
What are their patterns?
Life is circular.
Yeah, and you know, what's their track record? What's their pattern? So interesting enough. So like I've got a, we've talked about having 6 brothers. What they disagree with is that several of them have been married several times. And I said, look, from now on, before you get married, because like I date them and vet them and like track record and things like that. Now it's halfway a joke. Yeah. And yet the same thing. So if you go into business with somebody, or if you're planning on, it is very like, be intentional. You might want to hire a coach, a lawyer. You want to have something drawn up and documented, or some type of agreement that says, hey, this is what we think. This is how we're going to break up. This is how. And so that everybody understands, but even more so than that piece, it's like, what is the interview process? Mm-hmm. Are we interviewing them? Are we interviewing people that have references?
Marriage clause, divorce clause, marriage clause, divorce clause.
But even before, I think some people go there, which is great, but you haven't done your due diligence before.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing that I'll see sometimes in partnerships. People will say, well, we work similar and we have the same values. And I'm like, now, it could be. I wouldn't say never. But the thing about it is, if you both bring the same thing to the table,
then why do you need the other?
Yeah. Now,
and if you have money, don't partner with people for money.
Yeah. Well, that's so if when you should partner with somebody, it talks about, okay, do you need do you need some money, seed money, that type of thing?
Yeah.
Are you rewarding somebody that's been with you for years? They earned something, and maybe something like that. Mm-hmm.
Do they complete something that you don't have?
That's right.
That's what a partnership is for.
Well, I look at like Lilly Roofing.
Yeah.
Whenever y'all had originally hired Daniel, and y'all realized he was the missing link that you guys needed. So you said, "Hey, come be a partner with us."
Yeah.
Right. There is. So that's the piece. But let's say that y'all are. Let's say that we have 2 salespeople, mm-hmm. and y'all are both great. And y'all are like, hey, let's get together and we'll do more business. How? Same amount of time. Somebody, now, if it's how, and so like I think about when my brother and I partnered in real estate, the first time we partnered, we were both the chief.
Yeah.
And guess what?
Didn't work.
The staff was confused. We were confused. Nobody was happy. We ended up going separate ways. Yep. And there's a way to do this so that you don't lose a relationship.
Yep.
And we're really great friends, even though we were family as well. And then in a couple of years, we reevaluated. We came back together, but this time with a very clear, okay, Olivia, you're going to be the CEO, for lack of a better word. Mm-hmm. He's going to be the listing agent. Such and such is going to be this, such and such. And so we looked at it and we said, okay, these are owner meetings, and so that we can talk about things, we can make decisions together, et cetera. And these are the day-to-day, that's my role in this.
Define your role.
Define your role.
Yep.
And that became a win that time because we got very intentional of who does what and what skill levels match up.
Yep.
And I think sometimes that's a challenge.
Yeah, because and you mentioned bus earlier, and this is a metaphor, I think. I don't know. Anyway, it's not just about having the right people on the bus. It's about having the ass in the right seat on the particular bus. I can give you the best example was in my own personal real estate business. I hired Amy Mitchell. Initially, I hired her to come replace me as the listing agent. I was trying to hire my way out of sales. It didn't happen. I'm still in sales. And it was, she had 6 months training. So her job was to show up at my house every day at 8 and follow me around and go on all the appointments and learn the scripts, learn the presentations, learn all the systems that we have so that she knew how to apply that to the listing side of our business. And it was about 3 months in, and I'm looking at her schedule with her daughter. I'm looking at, kind of her personal needs. I'm also looking at her personality profile and what is it that she's actually leaning into in the business. And it was not the sales part. Now, do I think that Amy would go out there and kick everybody's ass in sales? The answer is absolutely. And if she wanted to switch tomorrow, I'd be sad to lose her as our director. And I'd be like, we about to kick ass in some sales, But, we're 3 months in. Me and her are watching a virtual conference at my house for like 3 days. We couldn't get there personally, so we watched it virtually. And she just pressed pause. And she's like, you have a problem inside your company. And I said, I know I do. And she said, you don't know how bad it is, though. She's like, people are about to quit. People are about to leave. And so we had a lot of hard conversations. It made me do something that I had been told to do for a long time, which was fire someone that was very near and dear to me. And it absolutely destroyed our relationship. Maybe I could have handled it slightly better, but I did the best I could at that time in the situation I was in. I had to remove that person from our organization, and we moved her over. It was never our intention. I thought I was hiring a salesperson. And then we moved her into that role. And
I remember you actually called me about that.
I did. I needed somebody to tell me I didn't have to do it. I was looking for a way out, and there was no way other than to do what I had to do. And that was, I've fired people before. That is, in business, I'm going to say that will go down to this day as the hardest thing I've ever done, is fire someone that I legitimately cared about. Mm-hmm. And they don't like me right now, and that's fine. I get it. But I had to. Yeah. And because of that,
everybody, not just us, everybody. Yeah. You are you're the hero in somebody's story, and you are the villain in somebody else's.
Hi, my name's Harrison.
Yeah.
Super villain. And I don't want to be, but that's part of running a business. It's a business.
Well, when we say villain, we all have somebody that, that other person may not even know that they're the villain in your story, right?
Well, they're not the villain in mine. They were actually literally the hero at some point.
Oh, yeah. No, not this person. I just meant as far as there is somebody that is a villain in your life.
I've got a few of them right now.
Yeah.
But in their minds, it's the opposite.
Yeah, very possible. And so, and yet sometimes I was listening to, if you guys have not, and I wish if we can insert this here, it'd be awesome.
You can achieve your dreams at any age. Did you know that Harrison Ford at 30 was a carpenter? Vera Wang didn't design her first dress until she was 40. All I'm saying is that you youngins is running around here trying to be somebody when you don't even know who you are yet. You know what happened to Oprah at 23? She got fired. Imagine firing Oprah.
Yeah, well, that was a mistake.
No, it wasn't. Because she wasn't Oprah. She was just some 23-year-old punk who needed to get fired so she could become Oprah. Sometimes you gotta fail to succeed.
There's a Saturday Night Live skit. Mm-hmm. And Leslie... is
that appropriate for our audience?
No, it really... Well, kind of... Yeah, I think so. But Leslie, she's hilarious. But she was talking about... in your 20s, a lot of times people in their 20s are like, they feel bad because they haven't figured it all out yet. Mm-hmm. And she was like, and so she started naming people. So she's a designer. She didn't design her first dress. Vera Wang didn't design her first dress until she was 40. Oprah Winfrey got fired when she was 23, and Colin, her co-host, was like, they made a mistake. And she goes, no, they didn't. She wasn't Oprah yet. Mm-hmm. She was 23-year-old, didn't know anything. She needed to be fired so that she could become Oprah.
Yeah.
And I think about that. There have been times in my life when something happened, I was not okay with it. Mm-hmm. And then you look back and you're like, I may have needed to go through that because it helped me grow.
Yeah, failing forward. I mean, absolutely. And so we made that change, fired that person, put somebody else in the seat, and all of a sudden, my panic attacks at 2 a.m. in the morning because nothing was being done and that person was absentee. Now we're setting up systems, and 3 years later, like, it didn't happen overnight. 6 months, I got relief. 6 more months, I got more relief. A year later, I'm not having to work 100 hours a week anymore. Now, I'm still working 100 hours a week, but it's, 60-ish, 70 hours a week in real estate. And now I'm like, okay, well, I've saved money, I've invested. Now I get to go do other things because this person allowed me to go open other companies, to go start new ventures, to go do stuff. Mm-hmm.
Well, and the thing is, you're still in the growth mode, right? And so, that's some of the work. And then you're a little bit of a workaholic and you're passionate about what you do. But absolutely, that's the difference of making sure you have the right people in the right seat of the bus. Mm-hmm. Now, I will say this, because what you described is different. And I do want to, the other thing that I see is somebody hires somebody and they don't do well in that particular seat. So they go, we recently went through this when I first came on with you. Mm-hmm. You're okay. Well, they're not winning over there. So let's move them over here. Maybe they'll win over here. Well, they're not winning over. Now,
I hate firing people. Olivia. Like it is. I like, hear me out. I do not like hurting people. Mm-hmm. I will hurt myself not to hurt you.
Well,
and yet, track record trumps all.
Well, and not only that, so I have a theory. So whenever I was in my 20s, I realized this. Because by the time I was 22, maybe I was 21. I don't know. So I was running a business with 36 employees, and what I realized through this process, because I'd worked my way up in that business, what I realized in this process is nobody is surprised when they're fired. Now, I'm not talking about like a layoff. I'm not talking about Enron, mm-hmm. Because I lived in Dallas, or Houston during that time. Like, I'm not talking about like there was nothing you knew about, but people are not surprised. If somebody...
When it's performance-based.
That's right.
Like, you're failing.
That's right. Well, and not only that, they're probably, they're showing up miserable. They want the money. And most times people are doing the best with what they can. So they may act like they're surprised, but they're not. And everybody that has an employee, shame on you if they are surprised at all. And this is, with that said, that's not like a knock. I'm saying like do better, mm-hmm. find out your system, and get better having conversations sooner. Mm-hmm. So and because a lot of times people will wait until they're like, you suck, I'm so mad, and then we let them go. And instead, always like if there's, and I let people know this now whenever I hire them. Like, look, we go through this training process. I want you to be honest with me. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, we go through this whole thing. And when they mess up, I'm going to say it that day. I'm not going to wait till Friday till we have a thing. Like, they're going to always know where they stand with me.
Yep.
If it is, so
that's something that people like. That's something I appreciate about you, and that's something that like some people don't know how to take from you.
Probably.
Because Alivia is extremely direct, and she's just like, hey, this is a hard conversation. We're just going to have it real quick right now.
Yeah. And
and you don't even think about it. You just say it like very nonchalantly. It's a skill you had to learn.
I had to learn it.
I appreciate it because I like knowing where I stand. Look, if I'm up with you, like I would like you just to go, hey, Harrison, we have some mismatch of expectations.
Yeah.
Because all we're talking about right now is unspoken mismatch of expectations over time lead to resentment. Resentment bottled up over time creates toxicity.
Yes.
And toxicity is a cancer to your business.
100%. And it's a cancer to your life. So that was one of the things. So I had to learn this skill. And it's funny enough, it's not nonchalant. So,
are you sure?
Oh, no. Like, look,
I'm just going to tell you from an outside standpoint.
Oh, I know. Well, that is one of the things that I have an opportunity to work on. And yet, so like, will you take, so Harrison wasn't at the team meeting last week because he was gone. And we were, I was telling the agents, like, they were practicing some sales skills, and I said, hey, next Wednesday we're going to make this a game, and we're gonna like do it as a tournament. And I said the winner gets something,
$100.
$100, you know,
Yeah.
and
No, not the winner gets something. Harrison is going to give the winner $100.
Yeah. Well, no, this is what's funny about it. And this is where Amy does really good in her job. So I said, you know, you'll get $100. And then Amy, and I said, I'll either pay it because I just volunteered. I'm not going to volunteer Harrison's money. That's not right. I said, so if Harrison if that doesn't match, then I'll pay it.
If you'd have said $1,000, I'd have looked at you funny.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, though, if I can help these agents like get a sales skill in one day and it's over $100, I will write that check every day of the week, 365 days a year, because I know what that actually means in my pocket at the end. It's a 10x return on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I know you enough that I figured that, and at the same time, I don't spend my money. I'm not going to spend yours. So, well, so that when I say that,
I'm gonna get Olivia's Amazon account and just start crushing.
Whenever you were, in the team meeting, or before the team meeting, I told you, and then the team meeting, like your goal, but you didn't officially say, I think, or you said like, yeah, or I got it, or whatever, but it wasn't like in my mind, it wasn't like a commitment. A commitment.
Yeah.
And so, we had the winner. I needed to do the money. I needed to say, hey, like what? And I was like, I ain't gonna do that. I just so I was like, hey, I'm just gonna pay her. And you're like, well, I just needed somebody to like remind me I got this, and y'all handled it.
Yeah.
But that, I was like I had to like, that went through, because that's the other thing. I'll notice, like, if I have a thought like that, like a recurring, did I handle it right? Is somebody mad at me or whatever? I'm going to handle it, because otherwise, like, it sits on me. And now 3 weeks later, it's like, really now this $100 been sitting on me for, like, it's dumb. Mm-hmm. So that is part of, so if it's something, I'm like, no, I'm just going to handle it. We're going to pull the Band-Aid off. Because I don't want to live that way. Yeah. And so, and yet I do want to say, I thought that was really cool. Like, Amy she did it in such a, like, it wasn't appropriate, like, but she was in my eye line of sight. She was like, and I was like, no, like.
Yeah, she's a protector of all things Harrison.
Well, that's just supposed to be. Like, she, you know, and so I thought that was really cool. Like, again, that attests to who you have around you. Mm-hmm. And, but yeah, so, like, to me, and then with, you know, ADHD, and I'm sure there's a lot of other things, I pick up on lots of social cues, and some of them I miss. And
I would say that
I miss a lot.
I miss a lot of social cues.
So the funny thing is, the more I was diagnosed with ADHD in my 20s.
So if y'all don't know this, Alivia is actually, obviously she's a sales and business coach, but like her main source of study right now is around ADHD and helping entrepreneurs make that a superpower rather than a hindrance in their lives. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you for that. So, but the more I've been studying, and I'm like, I think I might be autistic too. And I'm like, okay, now, you know, is this now, what is it when you think there's something wrong with you and you
hypochondriac.
Hypochondriac? I was like, well, or maybe I'm a hypochondriac. But funny enough, there are, you know, those can run side by side. I've not been diagnosed with it or anything. And yet the more you, like, if you do have, some people, if you do also have autism, what happens is some people's ADHD is so loud that until you learn about it, manage it, you know, I personally take medicine for it and do a lot of other things to work with it, that you don't notice the autism, because it's kind of, this is so loud.
Do you really think you're autistic?
I think I might be on the spectrum a little bit.
You and Carter Cassio just hanging out together.
Yeah.
Because my buddy.
That's right. Well, the funny thing about, well, and the thing is, so like for the social piece of it, if I'm in my zone, meaning like I'm doing a coaching call, I have learned to look for things like your voice, your tonality, your face, your all of that stuff. That is very much a learned skill. Now you put me out in the wild. In the wild. And somebody will come to me and be like, Alivia, like, you hurt my feelings. And I'm like,
what are feelings?
I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, you were just really, like, you talked really rough to me. And I'm thinking, no, I don't. And then I go, that's as I do this.
No, all right. I got to stop this for a second. So
I have learned enough, though, that it is me. So I will take that on. It's me. I'll apologize. We'll fix it.
This is not on topic, but all right, this is just funny. So we're sitting. So what was it? We brought you in 4 months ago. Is that correct?
February 1st was like my official. Yeah.
Okay. And so she's teaching one of her first Wednesdays with us, and I am used to teaching every single class. I'm also used to being the one that like speaks up and asks questions. And so Olivia's teaching. I had something I wanted to interject, and just a little bit just came out of my mouth. I was like, eh. And she looked at me and she went,
I said, hold that thought. I was not that, maybe it was.
It was sharp. And I just like my jaw, like I laughed because you were right. Like you were right. I was trying to take your podium and I shouldn't do that.
Well, it wasn't even that. You were going somewhere they weren't ready to go yet.
Yeah. And so I like literally like, I'm like, ah. And then she just smokes me with this finger. And then I just like, I went, like, I kind of made a stink face for a second. I had to do an internal evaluation for myself. And I was like, she's right, I'm wrong. She's right, I'm wrong.
Well,
she is right, I'm wrong.
No, and this is where, so I did catch myself because I think I said, now we'll come back to you.
I got shushed in my own meeting.
You did, yeah. So that is one great thing about me is you typically know where you stand.
Yeah.
Like I'm
still laughing about that. You just had to be here in that moment. And then also, if you know me and my personality, you know that I'm not used to really being shushed. So just hang around Olivia and she'll tell you to shut the fuck up.
That's right. I was about to say I'm nice about it. I guess not.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't rude. It was just, it was direct.
Well, it's direct. Yeah. Well, and I think, and I think too, the difference is for years, like I would go into and like lead a bold class and there would be 40 to 150 people in there. And
mega agents alike. And you're like, hey, be quiet.
And my job was to control the room, right? To make sure, because somebody can start talking and next thing you know, you're way over here. And it wasn't like a benefit to so you learn to control the room and keep people in and things like that. And so, but it is different. And yet, so autism is a spectrum, again, have not been diagnosed. I don't know, because it could be a hypochondriac as well. And there are times where I'm like, maybe.
I don't know why. I just find this so funny. Like, I apparently found it really funny because I spit on the table. So that's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, so let's get back on topic because we have gone way right. All right, so that conference, this was the good. I'm going to tell you the good. Like, that's my critique, right? Yeah. The good is that I got to like see Grant Cardone's org chart, and his personal COO came out and spoke, and the first thing is that I reminded myself, because I have a lot of I get really upset and down on myself when hires don't work out, especially sales agents, because I can say this is not a sales pitch. There is not a better real estate team, organizationally, sales-wise, culture-wise, a culture of productivity and production, a culture of caring for its people, a culture where our people are winning more than anyone else's across the board, guaranteed, is 100% fact. There is no better place for an agent to grow their business than THLT. I can put it to you statistically. You don't have to believe me, but I'm just telling you that statistically speaking, it's 100% true.
Well, and if you think about it, so like y'all do every year over year, you're doing 400 plus sales, and there's like 12 of you. Yeah,
there's 12. So the average agent production in every company is 6 to 8, unless you include one really small brokerage. Theirs is like 11. After you got to take their one mega agent out, and then in fact, I think they're actually back down with the average after you take their one mega agent out. And then you see like this huge decline in sales last year. Now we were down too, but we weren't down near as much. And then, but the average is going to be 6 to 8. Literally, almost everybody's at 7. Ours was 46 sales per person. Our days home market, our list price to sales price, our success rate, the amount of leads we give agents, the amount of support we give agents, no one touches. It's not even close. And so here's my point to that is I know that, and then I bring people in and I'm like, we are going to set you up for success. I want to see you making six figures. I want to see your children's lives change. I want to see your legacy change. I want to help you with flips. I want to help you with rentals. I want to help you grow a residual income. I want you to come play all in. I want you to be a good team player so we can do this for the next person, because that's the culture, right? Is we're not just going to do it for ourselves. It's I came before you, you came before them, and now we're going to go help. We're going to reach back down. We're going to pull somebody else up the mountain, because being on that mountainside by yourself is not fun. Mm-hmm. And that's the belief of our company and me. And so when I see someone come in and not play all in, and us have to part ways, or there's some sort of resentment because they just wouldn't ask a question, like that bothers me. And she's up there saying, this is one of the most successful sales organizations probably on the planet, if I had to guess. And she's like, I manage 350 people. And she goes, I suck at hiring. She goes, I hired everybody. She goes, I've hired 1,400 people in the last, X amount of years. I think it's like 5 or 6. And she goes, I have 350 left. I suck at hiring. So do you. People are going to show up or not show up, and you have to make your decision on what to do with them. Fire their ass. And I'd have to think about that. I struggle with firing people. And in the future, like I truly believe I need to do this. You have 9 weeks with me, and you're going to show me who you are. And then I'm going to make a decision on if we are going to be together or not. Well,
so that's something that I'm actually going to like kind of push back on, that only from a perspective of there should be a hiring system. Mm-hmm. One of because I'm a big fan of that, slow to hire, quick to fire. Yep. But what that looks like is, this is my expectations for this time period. First off, what's your track record? Are we on the same page with expectations? Do I know, like, if this role calls you to work nights and weekends, are you willing to do that? Are you begrudgingly doing that? Because if you're begrudgingly, we're just not a fit.
Then you're not going all in, and you're not going to be great at it.
Well, and this is it. We're just not a fit. Like, you may, and that's okay. But I'd rather turn you down now than let you down later. So I think that's a huge piece of it. And then getting on the same page with communication, and then going through the process and letting people know throughout the way, like, this was the expectation, you met it, you didn't meet it, and then going to it from, did you not meet it because I missed giving you something? Let's talk about it. Did you miss it because you didn't take advantage of it? Let's talk about it. Okay, from here, are you moving forward? Are we going on a performance? Are we splitting ways? And all of those have to be okay. We cannot want it more than somebody else wants it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's also a timing thing. It could be that they are amazing people. They're all of these things, but what they're looking for right now and the position you have, not the right fit. Yeah. And somewhere along the line, it might be, or there might be another position for them. But that's the big thing. So, and the reason that I say I push back on that 9 weeks is it's. Well, I don't know. 9 weeks was a random number, by the way. Right. But I do think. I think you're going to find out. You got to get through the honeymoon phase, right? Because everyone, it's like a first date, right? Put on a little extra makeup. We make sure we really brush our teeth that day. We put on. Well, like if you're not like impressing people in the first 90 days, like, it's going to go downhill. Now, with that said, I think that's where those honest conversations, honest expectations come along. And then, but we have to make sure that we don't ever stop that. Mm-hmm. Because the other piece is that this person could have been the right fit for this role for this long. And you might have an idea of, like, the business owner might have an idea like, oh, I'd like this person to do this and either stay in this role forever, or this is a growth opportunity for them to take. And then sometimes we get so, like, dogged on, we want them over here, but that may not fit that person, or they may not want it, or that may be their only path, but they're not willing to do the work, the study, et cetera, to get on that path. So y'all have to be very clear about that, because sometimes I think that's the other thing is we always look at it as firing somebody. Mm-hmm. I think we've got to be really intentional of going like I think of this one person that amazing and wrong fit for me. Mm-hmm. She works for you now. And Jade.
Oh, okay.
So whenever I left.
She's great.
Well, and so when I left, she ended up deciding to leave, and we worked really well together. And she said, hey, can I? And part of it is because, this was the cool thing I love about Jade being very coachable. I let her know. So while you're in this process of training, if there's something that you're doing that isn't going to make you better, make the business better, I'm just going to call it out right there. I'm not going to do it in front of people or anything, but we're just going to have that conversation right there. We're going to move on. But you're not in trouble. If you feel like I'm being short with you, let me know that how I'm approaching. But
you're going to be short, Olivia.
So maybe it's just so there was an agent that asked for me, and I happened to overhear, and Jade said, she's busy right now, or she's with somebody or whatever. And that agent was like, yeah, she's always busy. And Jade was like, yeah, I know. And I said, so when I finished, and I said, look, there was nothing inherently wrong with what you did. I said, the challenge is when we talked about, are we setting people up for success? I said, so that agent, in no way was he upset, but he was like, yeah, Olivia's always busy. Almost like she's too busy for me. I said, now, we don't know what he intended or not.
But to reaffirm the relationship, we're going to make this priority to get back in touch with you.
That's right. So, and then when you go, yeah, she is always busy, the challenge becomes not right now, but the next time he tries to find me, if he can't, then that affair, and then now I'm too busy, and it becomes a story in people's heads.
And if it's a coaching client, you're fired.
And what I loved about, and then there puts distance between somebody that I'm reading, and what I loved about it, I told her, and she goes, that makes sense. So great. We were because it just did, and she never, so I love people that I can just do that with, and then they make that adjustment, or they say, well, Olivia, that doesn't make sense, and we figure it out, right? Well, so when I left, she came to work for me. This is what we talk about how people leave jobs and everything. This is where, so twice after this, I've recommended her for other jobs. Whenever, so she started working for me. The way that we thought it was going to didn't work out, but she was working a lot from home, and things weren't happening. Things weren't getting done. I wasn't giving, it wasn't just on her. It was a two-way street. What I loved is Jade, because I also loved her. I think she's great. But there was something. And so she came to me first and said, hey, Alivia, I don't know if this is working. What else can I do for you? Because not what else, but how else can I support you? You're not giving me.
You're not getting.
Yeah, you're paying me, but I'm not doing. And then
that's so. I'm going to give kudos to her. Most people wouldn't have that conversation. They would get on YouTube, get on TikTok, play on their phones, hang out with their kid, because you're not there, you're not present, you don't know. And so as long as everything's being done, you're like, cool, I'm paying them.
Right.
And they're going, no, I'm here to help you. I can't grow unless you grow.
That's right.
My trailer's hitched to your engine.
That's right.
And so give me more, let's go do more. And that is an ultimate level of accountability there.
1,000%.
Yeah.
And so this is the other thing. And so this is a young lady with a kid, single lady with a kid. Sometimes what happens is, and we've all done this at some point, but we go, I don't want to have that conversation. It's uncomfortable. So we put her head in the sand from either perspective. And then eventually, so she asked me, what can I, and I said, you know what? It's not just you. At the time I was traveling, there were so many things going on. And so I wasn't giving her the training or the guidance that she needed. So I was like, I'll do better. This is a me thing. Started to do better. Anyways. And then she had some challenge. Anyway, so this is the cool part. So we came together, and I was like, and she brought it back up we were having gonna have a meeting together, and she's like, I'm okay going and finding another job, Olivia. She's like, I don't think this is working. And I said, first off, thank you so much. It's not, and it's not you. I think the world of you. It is what I had intended isn't quite there. And so I made sure that I paid her, well, and I reached out to some people. She was, she started reaching out to find another job. I reached out to people. If there's somebody like that, it was not her. I went and said, okay, how do I help her find another job that will help her grow?
Yeah.
Now,
so what you're getting at is letting someone go doesn't have to be this ugly, bad divorce. And I look at it, and earlier I said fire their ass, right? That sounded very inhumane of me. If someone is not succeeding in your organization, you are hurting them. You are hurting their family. If they are not on the right bus or on the right seat, it is your job as a leader who took the role to help feed their family, to lead them spiritually, emotionally, physically, whatever that is, and release them into success for their family and helping them Find that. Divorce, like leaving doesn't have to be ugly. I give you an example. Carter Cassio left the team. I freaking love the dude. Yeah. In fact, I'll tell you this. We're closer now that he doesn't work for me because I don't have to correct him anymore. And so I enjoy my relationship with Carter.
He's successful with what he's doing. He actually even came back and taught a class first.
He sent me a message last week and he goes, hey, I know you'll have a few new agents on the team. Would you like for me to come teach social media? I just want to come hang out with the team.
Yeah.
Like, that's who he is. Like,
he's still in the group text.
Yeah, he's still in our group. He's honorary at this point. And he always comes from contribution. So why wouldn't I want him around people like that?
And that's the thing. So that's where, that's who we're looking for. And so that's my take on it is I'm looking for that. So again, I think where all this came from is so when I look at, to me, it's not about, I'm the one firing you or whatever. And I don't remember I've had to fire people who did not like that. And so I'm the villain in their story. And I wish I wasn't. And I'm okay with that because that's what needed to happen. Now we can always learn from it.
Yep.
And yet, the interesting thing is, are we in communication at such a level that they also feel comfortable to come to us and say, like, I'm kind of miserable. Is this what it's supposed to be? And then you get to go, because sometimes people are actually doing a good job and they're miserable, but I don't want miserable people around me because it's not fair to them.
Yeah.
And so you go, well, and let's say that you don't have that role that they fit better. You might go, let me go help you. I will lead generate for you. Let's go find that piece. Because, again, it may not be that we're in relationship to this job together, but it might be in 3 and 4 and 5 years. You and I've never had the opportunity to fire one another, but who knew in 2000 whatever.
We don't fire each other.
Yeah.
I just want to
but who knew in how many ever years ago that this is where we would be now,
Yeah, no.
There's a gentleman that
I had a feeling, just to be clear.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
But there's a gentleman that went to, I led a bold in, his name is Christopher Bowman. I led a bold in Oregon. I don't know why, but we clicked, we jived. And even after that bowl was over, I told him, I was like, I don't know. And we're Facebook friends or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know what we'll do together. If there's a business opportunity or if there's something, I just have a feeling that at some point,
you clicked.
We're going to do something together. It's been 10 years with nothing, but we're still friends. And I say friends, it's not like we talk all the time, but like he's still somebody that comes to mind that I'm like, is there an opportunity? Is there, right? Cool guy. I like the way he runs his business. I like who he is. And so that's the thing that you're looking for. So again, so like, that's where I say, like, if you let somebody go, they should see it coming. Because you've had the conversations, and I don't mean, and you don't have to have 50 million.
Yeah.
It is.
Put it on the radar. Let's performance improvement plan. Something.
Well, but it's simple as, look, if you give if you give the job back to me,
you're failing.
Then there's a difference between, hey, I need help. Hey, I need this. But if I have to ask you if you did something, if I have to, if you did something you weren't supposed to be, and there's a pattern. And I mean 2, 3 we're just going to talk about it. Like, now, my assistant, she made an this week. She made an this week. So this is the interesting thing. So I made an this week, right? Because that is something I took on. And, but yeah, so she did an When I talk to you, I turn right around and I talk to her, and her whole, we can tell people if you'd like.
We can talk about it.
Her whole face, like she's like, oh my God, I want to crawl under the table. She was like, how can I make it right? And
Parish or Doe's gift card to direct.
That's right. And she and then she walked me through the process that she did, and I go, that makes sense because I do encourage people to be independent.
Yeah.
And we screwed up. So I immediately, we're going to find that out from somebody else. As soon as I knew, I let you know. And then I talked to her. Now, if that would have been a pattern, would that conversation with her have been different? But that was not a pattern.
This is like, these aren't, I mean, look, to me.
She just doesn't mess up like that.
Yeah. It wasn't life-changing, but it was like.
It could have been.
Great.
Yeah.
Like, if I was in a relationship, it probably would have been.
If she had like somebody, like maybe she was dating somebody that really like you, that could have been.
which will
You know what I
probably be
mean?
anybody that she dates.
Right. Well, but
yeah.
It would have just.
So let's just put it out. Let's put it out there. 'Cause it's
Yeah.
funny. So Alivia is managing our monthly newsletters and stuff like that right now for the team, and just trying to get us going because database was something that we're struggling with. And so in the last newsletter, it was a picture of me with my ex-wife and my stepdaughter, which is a great picture. It was at Addison's cheerleading banquet.
And thankfully, Addison was in the middle of it.
Right, yeah. And the confusing part, so like me and Chrissy have been divorced for, I don't know, 3, 4, I don't know when we divorced, 21, 20? I don't remember. So we've been divorced for 3 or 4 years now.
Well, but y'all are still friendly.
She is 100% a member of my family.
Yeah.
Her daughter is, as far as I'm concerned, she's my daughter.
Yeah. Well, and like she was at your birthday thing. She does some of the staging. So, because this is what.
Yeah, we work together too. Like
Yeah.
she is our designer. She is our stager.
Well, and so that's where Megan was like, I promise you I did my due diligence. Because what she was doing is she was pulling like different photos for the newsletter of our agents. And she said, couldn't find a good one of Harrison that wasn't just the what do you call it? Just the headshot things.
Yeah.
She said, so she was like, so I was looking, and she said they had the same last name. They were in these pictures together, so it all lined up to this is his wife. And I'm like, no, that's his ex-wife.
Yeah. And so if I was still, the probably the biggest issue with it, the only reason it's even an issue, so I'm not dating anybody right now, so it doesn't matter. But like if I was dating my ex-girlfriend, she would have been hot. Because that was an issue that she has. Because publicly, it looks like Christina and I may actually still be together.
Yeah. And
when it's not true. And we work together. She's a part of my family. She's at all my family events. She hangs out with my family more than I do.
Well, look, I got to tell you from a female perspective, let's say I was dating somebody and he sent out, I'd be like, you lied to me.
Me and my ex had literally had arguments where she's like, Harrison, are you still seeing her? Like, are you still married? And I don't know because people are telling me this. And I was like, no, she's just a part of my family. My mom told me when I married her, you're about to change her last name. She's about to be a Lilly. And that's your problem, not mine, because I love her and I love her daughter. And if she leaves your life, she's not leaving ours.
Yep.
Now, if Christina was acting a fool and all that, of course,
but
like she's not. She's an active member of our family. Mm-hmm. And that is probably a...
Well, no, so look, I believe, so again, I have 6 brothers. Most of them have been married more than once.
Yeah.
For the most part, I am friendly with all of the ex-wives. To the point where at one point, and then I've got a nephew who's just a few years younger than me, and he and his wife were divorced. They have 2 small kids. He wasn't doing the right thing, and I would not only babysit for her sometimes, but I'd be like, bring the kids to me. But we invited her to Thanksgiving. She had spent the night with me because she had went out in Monroe. She lives in Columbia. She went out like with some friends, some girlfriends. I said, the kids are here to spend the night. And he was like, I kind of feel like, I'm like, no. Y'all have kids together. Y'all are married. She's family. They're family. You got to suck it up. Now, if you come to Thanksgiving, and it's going to be awkward, maybe we do something different. Mm-hmm. That ain't on me, especially because you're the one that screwed it up.
Yeah. Well, the only thing that...
And I'm not going to put that between the kids.
Yeah. The only thing that actually, even bothers me about it is... I don't want people to think I'm cheating on my wife.
That's right.
Because if I go out, if I do go on a date and I go to Parrish and you're like,
wait, I just saw that newsletter.
That dude newsletter. Him and his wife are and now he's just out in public all willy-nilly.
Yeah. And not only that, but you're probably going to end up fielding some calls that, because, which by the way, if you're watching.
My ex-girlfriend's in my database, by the way. Yeah. So thanks, Olivia.
So by the way, while we're talking about this, if you reply back, so if you are in the Harrison Lilly real estate team database and you got an email this in the last week,
check your spam or junk, please.
Yes, if it's not in your email, check your spam or junk. It's going to say something about spring, but it's going to be from one of the agents on the Harrison Lilly team. If you check check it and you reply. So if it happens to be in your spam, pull it back in, reply, or if it's in your email, reply. You will be registered to win a Ring doorbell. We're going to do the drawing in another week or so. So if you're in there, make sure that you check that email, hit reply. If you are in Harrison's database, email back a funny joke about him and his ex-wife, and we'll put you in twice. No, but
that's fair. I don't care.
Yeah. But that is on me. Right. And but that's so. But so there's a difference between so I didn't just rip her a new one. We had a conversation, but she was already ripping herself a new one.
My Facebook literally says single.
Yeah. Well, and it was one of those. It just. But we addressed it, we dealt with it. It is not a pattern with her.
Yeah.
And I think too, that's where I'm looking for people that people screw up. I'm not looking for anybody to be perfect.
Nobody's
I'm not perfect. But if you screw up, say you screw it up, make sure you don't do it again, and move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so there was that. So that was one of the lessons is nobody's good at hiring, right? Put a system in place. Follow the system, but you're going to have to fire somebody. You're not going to hire 100 people and keep 100. Mm-hmm. You're going to look at one of the number one sales organizations in the United States. I'm saying that, I'm guessing, and hired almost 1,500 people, kept 350. I don't know if I'm getting those numbers right, but the ratios are pretty close because I was absolutely astounded at how many she hired versus how many were no longer there. Yeah. And the next thing was, I said it earlier, everything in my life, I don't want to say this to everybody thinking I'm getting out of real estate because the answer is I'm not. And yet, we all want more, right? We all, and I just believe the day you stop growing is the day you start dying. And I want to grow more people. I want to grow more businesses. I want to have my hands in more things. I get energy out of that. I don't get as much energy on going to listing appointments and telling you how much your house is worth and begging you to use me. I just don't. That used to be a high for me 5 years ago. When someone said yes to me from a listing appointment, you literally couldn't get me off cloud nine. And that is just not a huge win to me anymore. And it's not because I don't appreciate the business or that we're not going to do the best job on the planet. Because absolutely, I am going to you sign up with me, I'm going to give you my best to the best of my ability at that time, right? I am really, really enjoyed being a multi-business entrepreneur. It is giving me energy. I do like it. I think that I'm at a point now where there are people who are better at sales than me, and putting them in their 20 and getting me in my 20, which as of now, I would argue that my number 120 is probably being a multi-business entrepreneur and helping other people grow their sales businesses. Because that's really what I'm interested in. It's all sales businesses. And so it's about the who stack. And so I was just writing down all right, who is my who? Who do I take on this journey to help me grow this large portfolio of businesses? Where am I going to open these businesses up? What are these businesses going to look like? How vertically am I going to integrate these businesses with our real estate database? And that is where I got into creation that the biggest worth out of that whole conference was the fact that they made my brain go into creation mode instead of the mundane work mode that I'm in from week to week. And that's what those things are actually for. And that's what coaching is oftentimes is you have 15 conversations with your coach. And just as you're wondering if that subscription that you're paying every month is even worth it, then you go, holy cow, those last 15 conversations just came to this one conversation. And now we have one powerful idea. I'm going to make $1 million out of it. Yeah. And that's what that conference did. And so I started writing down my who stack. These are the people that I'm carrying with me into these other businesses. You were on the list. Congratulations.
Okay.
Yeah. And then what is my next target?
So that's funny that you say that. This is kind of off topic.
You about to pitch me another business?
Yeah. We talked about it before, and funny enough, I had talked about it with somebody else. Then you brought it up, and I was like, "Well, I've already been thinking about that." That I want us to do
camera.
that.
Okay.
Yeah. But we're gonna do it.
I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, don't worry about it. You're gonna be in. You're gonna be in. So we just have to figure out what makes sense for. Yeah. We're gonna be in.
So 2 weeks ago, me and one of my investment partners bought a snow cone stand. And I know that has nothing to do with real estate, but if you think about it like I'm thinking about it, you'll know that it has everything to do with my master plan of legacy, name building, brand building. And then
they actually make really good money. When you told me that, I was like, "There's no."
Look, people laughed at me. So they were at the conference. They were asking me well, because the other portion of this conference was business acquisition and mergers, and they asked me, "So how many businesses do you own?" I told them, and told them all the fields, and I said, "And we acquired one last week." And oh man, what'd you get into? I was like, bought a snow cone stand. And they just looked at me and I was like, I know you think it's funny, but let's talk about the net and let's talk about what I'm going to do with that inside of my world and how it all actually integrates. And they're like, now we're starting to see your big picture, because I didn't expand our businesses into Shreveport and Lafayette and go north and all that. I vertically integrated my businesses here in Monroe. And so the actual goal is, when you say the last name Lilly or a THLT company, is that we have a home service or an entertainment service or a professional service for you. You can call one place and literally get everything in the world that you need. And that has been kind of my vision for what we're doing. Now, we likely, due to the roofing company, will be expanding soon. But I'm still carrying out my mission here in Northeast Louisiana. You know, the next business that we're doing, like I have a meeting tomorrow. Like, I'll tell everybody what it is. We're opening up a production studio. And as soon as
because I was going to think that's where, so in the remaining time, let's talk about the R2 building and then about that as well.
Yeah. So the R2 building, it was just the beginning part of my dream.
Well, and the R2 building, you call it R2 because that's what it was before you bought it.
Yeah, it was
on Hudson Lane. If you're around here, you know
Hudson Lane. It's on Louisville.
Louisville. Sorry,
it has a Hudson entrance
Hudson too, but it's on Louisville.
Yeah, and so my vision has always, like, I wanted to have a place where not only my business could actually sit and we own it and we have a home finally after 6 years. The roofing company has been open for 16 months and it has a really nice office in a prime location. Freaking designed out. It's so nice.
It is really nice.
Yeah, and my real estate team, which is where all the money came from to open the businesses.
But it's a good place. You've got a good location.
Oh, no. It's going to be nice and all that, but we still don't have a home.
Well, no, but
6 years later is my point.
Well, but where you are homed right now is nice.
Oh, yeah.
It's just not the home.
Yeah, it's not the home.
Because you had bought R2, the building, and it's a huge building.
18,000 square feet.
18,000 square foot. So you're going to of course, real estate company's going to be in there.
Yep.
A production company's going to be in there. Who else is going to be in there right now? And if they're interested in being in there.
Yeah, so it's not exclusive just to THLT companies. So there's, again, the vision was obviously to vertically integrate our real estate database into other businesses. But also, I have enjoyed helping other people grow. Even if it is not massively monetarily beneficial to me, just being a part of that and having some opportunity inside that relationship. And so R2, which I don't know what the name's going to be yet. So I've thought about the elevation building. I almost called it Grow, except for because I always put in my tagline time to grow with that little plant emoji. I thought about calling it the Grow building with the plant emoji.
What if it's Lilly and you have somebody graphically design it and it's a flower or something growing?
No,
you get it grow.
I have a partner in that building. I don't know if they'd appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, how to Chase and them, they don't always own that building, but whoever's name is at the top, they got.
Yeah, but I want it to be centered around the incubation of what we're trying to do there. And so a business incubator, leadership growth, renting an office from us is not like a typical office rental. We actually don't want this to be your front-facing business office. We want this to be the place where the CEO, the business owner, the entrepreneur, the skills person, the creative, that person rents an office, and now they're invited to mixers so that we're a referral network. They're invited to coaching, where Alivia and I, and we'll bring in guest speakers, will be coaching and helping people grow and learn sales skills and marketing. We're going to have some of the businesses hosted in there, such as this production studio that we're working on. I am not a production professional by any means, but we're partnering with some people. And I am told this will be the nicest production studio in Louisiana. This includes New Orleans, Baton Rouge, all that. You're going to have to go to Dallas to find nicer equipment. It's going to be fully for sound. It's all AV studio, so audio and visual, nice ass cinema cameras and recording studio. I mean, it's everything, right? And then right behind that is digital marketing, because not only do we want to if you walk in as an whether you're a music artist or you're just doing what we do right now with our this, I don't know, we do have a really expensive camera, but outside of the stupid expensive camera, there's a $1,500 camera with a $300 or $400 lens, and then another $4,000. I would consider this a nice starter setup.
Well, and we've done it with a lot less,
we could do it.
Yeah,
we did
an
it.
iPhone or not quite that, but I've done a lot of the videos on iPhone. So just saying
but
when it's time to level up.
Yeah, so we're gonna let people come in and use really nice stuff, get it produced and mastered. Have the ability, we're going to have the people on staff to actually clip it out so that you can create reels, you do full-length podcasts. And then the next part on the digital marketing side is not helping you create the content, but how do you push that content out effectively? So whether it's you're wanting to go viral and you're wanting to be the next social influencer, or you're wanting to just educate and reach out to your database, your population, the people, your target, we're going to be doing that. So we'll be able to run your Google social ads. We're going to help you get your Spotify set up. We're going to help you get your Google set up, your GMB, all that fun stuff. And so not only will we be able to help you produce it, but also push it. So we're going to do that. Insurance company is going to be in there. At some point, I'm sure mortgage and title will be in there because that's just standard, right? That just depends on what our marketing partners want to do. And then I've got a few people, like a young entrepreneur with a moving business. I've had a few contractors reach out to me. The other really cool thing about it is that we're going to be exclusive to that trade. So let's, for instance, say that a family attorney comes in. There will be no other family attorneys allowed. Now, that also may cause the need for vetting. Like, hey, we need to pick who we actually want to be in this growth relationship with. Because even if you're an attorney, like sales is still a part of it.
Oh, yeah.
Personal growth is still a part of it. Nothing moves until someone sells it. I don't care what you say. And so we're going to be doing that. But that what I'm hoping for out of R2 is that, people will see what we've done with other businesses and how quickly we've helped them grow while providing the funding, the systems, the knowledge, the who's, and be able to go and us start making investments into other people's businesses and help them just put that thing on a friggin' launch pad and go to the moon faster than they ever could have realized it.
Yeah.
Let's create profit in month 1, 2, 3. Let's not wait 3 years and find out if we're still a business later.
That's right.
Yeah. So that is, but that's largely my passion these days. Is I wrote down in that conference, I just said, who am I? And I didn't use the word realtor. I didn't. I said, I am a multi-business entrepreneur. I buy businesses. I invest in people. I help people grow things. Mm-hmm. And that's really what lights me up. If I'm being completely honest, this is the reason I invested in your coaching company. Because that is something that I strongly believe in. And I know that you helped me. And I feel like through that we're going to be able to help more people together.
Yeah. Exciting stuff.
Yeah. Why are you just smiling at me like that?
I think it's cool. Yeah. I dig the vision. I think it's really cool. So again, if you are somebody that this sounds like something that you might want to be a part of, we have everything figured out yet? No. And one of the reasons, like, we're doing this podcast because we enjoy talking to one another. This gives us an opportunity to do that every week, make sure we're connecting. And also,
this keeps me from having to answer all her text messages.
That's right. And also, though, we want to meet cool people that are doing cool things. That
somebody doesn't want to like be in partnership with me.
No.
Like being in a relationship with me works for me too. Like, because you may have something that I don't have in your life, and we go, hey, like that's really cool. I got this. You got that.
Yeah.
Let's learn from each other, and now everybody's elevated. And let's bring this to these other people, and let's help them win too.
1,000%. Yeah. And so it's so we're even looking, like we talk about like podcast guests. So we've had Susie Dartlaw on, who is really awesome, and we learned a lot from her. Scooter, I definitely want him back on.
I actually want Scooter back on.
Yeah, Scooter.
I feel like we did not really touch the surface.
No, absolutely. And I think we got too excited. We want to let him talk more. He was really just a cool guy. And and again, like JB Mooney, he is, if you're not familiar with bull riding, and I'm not so much familiar with bull riding, but I think his story is freaking awesome. Yeah. 7 million, so like when you have that, the meme or what, he's a $7 million bull rider. That's JB Mooney.
And he's willing to come?
Well, that's what I'd like to. I know where he lives.
Is this how we're asking?
This is how I'm asking. So I know I put it on Facebook. I know like where he lives. He doesn't live that far from Avery, and so Avery.
Oh, you know what though? I think there's somebody local who does a podcast, and I think they actually did an interview with JB Mooney.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
pretty positive.
If anybody knows him, and then oh my God, JB works with, and he is freaking hilarious. Why can't I think of his name?
Isn't he from like Canada or something like that, or maybe Michigan or up north?
I don't think.
Because I thought I listened to this interview. Because the guy who runs the podcast is a client of ours, and so I was just trying to support his content.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
I could be wrong. But I just, like, this is just an opportunity. I want, like, people that have done cool things, that have overcome things, that are the people you surround yourself with matters. And so, continuing to talk with people that think differently, do different. We want to get to know them.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, so if there are any cool people out there with a cool story, it doesn't even have to be about business. It could just be some crazy, miraculous, cool thing. Like I'm good with it. If you got a kid that like got cured of cancer, let's come on, like anything, like
if it, if there's and I think too the interesting thing around some of this is I think sometimes people don't realize, like, we get very much like our story becomes normal to us, and we don't, and so you may be watching this and be like, well, I don't have a story. I ask somebody in your life, and there's probably somebody who's going to be like, what do you mean you don't have a story? Like, you overcame this, you did this, I think about like the way we grew up. I thought I had a fine childhood, and then I have a sister-in-law that's
to find out that snuggling up with your 6 brothers around one gas
heater and no air conditioning in Louisiana. That
probably needed a carbon monoxide detector.
It was fine because our walls had holes.
And now we know why Alivia may have autism.
That's right. But anyway, so like I always love to talk with people and find out cool stuff like that they may not even consider cool because that's your story.
Yeah. Well, when people ask me about my life and something, I mean, just not like, look, I had a great family, like very lower middle class upbringing, entrepreneur, went through some struggles. I'm winning. That's my story. And I was like, so we were like sitting around talking about stories one day, and I'm like, I had a story, and then I had a story, and I had a story, and I went, my life is so unbelievable. And most of it I can't say, like, I would not talk about publicly. But like just my life experiences are actually like, they're pretty vast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's people's are. So with that said, we are going to wrap up today. Thank you so much. If you've managed to make it this long, we appreciate you. And we will be next week, our podcast, we're going to be meeting with Partners Title.
Oh, the Charles. Gnarls Barkley, as he's known in our, I don't know, Chris Rux gave him that name. Or maybe it was Jennifer Rux, I don't know. But I call him Gnarls. But no, Charles is...
he's a local lawyer.
Yeah.
He does title. I'm sure he does other things.
I wonder if I can get him to talk about his family story. I can't say it without permission.
Yes, so we'll ask him.
Because he's actually pretty private about it. He told me one night, me and him had a meeting, and he invited me over to his house for steaks, and we just had a few whiskeys, and he hit me with a story, and I was like... I lost my mind. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So just to tell you a little bit
Great dad. His daughter was so cute when
I call
she
her
came.
Princess Alice.
She came in and do the sales and
she Alice, she said, well, if you call me Princess Alice, then what is Charles Thomas? I said, Charles Thomas. I think she was expecting like some grand, name. He's a man. His name's CT. No, so Charles, so he's a title attorney. He is a legacy attorney. Dad's dad, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so they own obviously a normal law firm where they handle workers' comp litigation and some other stuff, family law. I don't know if that's family law because he didn't do like adoptions and divorces. It's like succession planning and stuff like that.
Okay. He helped my mom do her will. Super cool.
Yeah.
Like the whole communication piece, it was great. And he helped her do her will and things.
Yeah. And then, obviously Partners Title. And that's one of our marketing partners. And Charles has been one of the best business partners. So outside of like our real estate connection, we actually own some investments together. And I can tell you this. There's not a lot of people that I just consider that they are just 100% sincere and raw and real at all times. Mm-hmm. I believe that's Charles in my life. Like I was telling you about a conflict I've had this week, and I had to call Charles, and I was like, dude, if I'm wrong, I just need you to tell me. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm wrong, I need to go apologize. I need to make this right. And he's like, I wish I could tell you were, but like, I don't. I said, Charles, no, I need someone to tell me I'm wrong. I want it. And he's like, man, I can't. He's like, I would love to tell you that, And so he is not only great dad, great husband, great business owner, friend, and mentor. Yeah. That's the place he holds in my life. And so I am looking forward to picking his brain a little bit.
He's just a sincere guy. Like certain people have just this energy that you're just like, just this sincerity. Him, Woods Watson, I don't know if you know him, but we should have him on. He's phenomenal. And Richard Moore. They just have this quality, like that they really see you.
You know who I would like to have on?
Who's that?
It's probably not good for my personal business. Richard Brown. That man has a story. Do you know him?
I don't.
So he owns brown painting, brown roofing,
yeah.
brown flooring,
no,
browns.
Richard. Yeah, he's married to my friend, or the girl I went to school with, Terry, and we just went and had lunch the other day. Isn't that Richard? Where's my phone? I need a Facebook picture.
Hold up.
Because he runs.
Yes, he runs.
That's
Okay,
they
all
just
right.
did a 10K together. So
yes,
so
okay, yes, that's them. Last weekend. Yes,
yeah. She
okay.
and I went to lunch. Like that's the first time I've seen her since school.
Yeah. Did you tell her what you were doing?
Yeah.
So Richard actually, so funny. So we both own roofing companies. Absolute camaraderie. When we see each other, it's a hug. And me and him are not close by any means. But he is. When he talks about us publicly, like I hear because people tell me what he says. Right? We go to the same barbershop, and he's like, "Man, he's just so complimentary of you guys, and he really likes you guys, and just do the right thing." And I was like, "Wow," because we don't get that. You don't get that inside a competition very often. But I mean, you're talking about someone who, I mean, homeless. I don't know what he's worth, but it's way more than me. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I'm proud of that dude. I think he would have a great story. And I almost guarantee he'd come on.
Okay, let's ask him.
Yeah.
And get Terry. Yeah, that's funny how that connection. All right. So with all that to say, peace. Have a great one.
Let's go.